The most important meal of the day, second breakfast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Second Breakfast podcast. I'm Andy Roth, and Phil Duvall is playing some sort of killer bunny from the movie Night of the Lepus or something. I don't know.
Night of the Lepus?
It's a movie about giant killer bunnies.
Clearly.
And it is as good as that tagline would lead you to believe.
This reminds me of something, Andy. Have you ever in your life,
Yeah.
seen a more beautiful, recording of irony than the killer bunny in Monty Python and the Holy Grail? I mean, it's the most unsuspected. It's one of those things that now we joke about it, but I have to believe. I mean, I know the first time I saw it, I was like, I can't.
Yes.
I had no place. That's the kind of comedy where you have to create new places in your head just to store it.
Agreed.
Because you can't actually process. So, anyways.
I agree with that. Unrelated. My favorite game right now is a card game that is actually called Killer Bunnies. And it is the most fun in the world. It is unbelievably fun.
Nice. How coincidental.
Indeed. I wonder if it would have been called Killer Bunnies if not for the movie Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I hope that John Cleese is getting more money that he doesn't need just for that.
Indeed. That's right. Well, Phil, it's Friday.
Yes.
And what does that mean?
As far as I recall, Andy, if I understand the chronology of our television show correctly, I would say that today is Mailbag.
It's Mailbag
Today's
Day.
Mailbag. It is.
It's Mailbag Day. Rounding off another week with a viewer mailbag. As always, these are real emails sent us from real viewers or listeners. And where do they send it?
As far as we know. They sent them to secondbreakfastpodcast@gmail.com.
It's true. Secondbreakfastpodcast@gmail.com. All one word. And that's really all I have to say. We have some great questions. Shall we get cracking?
Can we crack at it? Let's do it.
Let's crack at it.
I don't know.
Is that a saying? Is that a saying?
As of right now, if we keep saying it, it will become a saying.
That's fair.
The power of media. The power of media.
All three of our contributors today, they are repeat contributors, and they fall into this category because pretty much every question they send us is amazing. First one from frequent contributor Ladarius. Hello, Ladarius. Going to the movie theater. When are you willing to spend $20+ on a ticket for IMAX, 3D, etc.?
When someone else is buying?
Indeed.
First of all, I get the question. Holy crap, where are you spending $20 for a movie ticket?
That was the first thing that popped in my head. Even high definition, high frame rate IMAX 3D, blah, blah, blah. Anywhere except for New York and maybe parts of Los Angeles, even that isn't going to be $20 for just the ticket.
Although I think I saw a 3D movie the other day, and I think it was something ridiculous, like $14 a ticket.
Sure.
Or 16, and I was like,
sure.
Oh, what? Yeah. And luckily my work paid for that ticket because I was taking people out to the movie. But
nice.
But what I will say is it has to be spectacle. It has to be a spectacle for whatever the amount. 20+ seems like a whole lot, but I you know what? Let's be honest. It's really not too long before that just is the case. So the good news is we don't pay with cash anymore. We pay with cards, so we don't actually have to hand someone a $20 bill and not get any change back.
Right.
Because if you slide a card and it costs you $20 to see a movie, whatever.
That's right.
But if you actually pulled out a $20 bill, snap,
yeah,
and we're like, I mean, and literally, let's see what, I don't have a $20. Oh, look, Andy, look. $20 bill.
That's the sound of a $20 bill, folks.
You want to go to a movie? And then I handed this to you, and then you handed me a ticket and nothing else?
It would hurt.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing. Like if you have a $100 bill in your wallet, it'll last forever. But if you break it into like 5 20s, you're done in like a day.
gone
it's
like the
done.
next moment. It's
Yes.
not even.
Yes.
You might as well just. It's like the piece of gum you broke the $100 bill for. Might as well be a $100 piece of gum.
That better be a really, really good piece of gum. Like better
Yeah.
than the milkshake in Pulp Fiction.
That's a pretty good milkshake, but I don't know if it's worth no $5. I'll tell you what, a $5 milkshake now. By the way, that movie is clearly almost 20 years old because a $5 milkshake seems completely reasonable to me.
Indeed. Oh, $5 milkshake.
Oh, how much is a milkshake? $5? Okay.
We're avoiding this question, which is a shame because I like this
I
question.
thought we were answering it. I think it needs to be a spectacle. I think it needs to be a spectacle. So, for instance, I saw a movie last night called Safety Not Guaranteed, or the other day called Safety Not Guaranteed, which I thought was great, or at least really good. But I certainly wouldn't have spent $20 to see it in a movie theater.
Fair.
I'd see it on a movie theater, but I wouldn't spend like. So it needs to blow your mind.
Yeah.
It needs to be mind-blowingly visual, but at the same time, I would prefer it be. I mean, like Lord of the Rings movies, I would do it for.
Sure.
I would do it for the Hobbit movies, although I'm getting a little nervous about what that will mean.
Right.
But still, clearly, the Avengers. I saw the Avengers IMAX 3D, and it was. And I don't even care about 3D, and it was glorious.
It's true. It's true. When I was thinking about it, I had to, because of what we talked about, like where are you spending $20 and up on a ticket. I had to sort of recalibrate. Spending a lot of money on a movie ticket here in North Carolina. That's $12 and up.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. But the actual answer is I do it fairly often because I try to. My default is to see it in the best available format. That doesn't necessarily mean 3D. It will mean IMAX if it's available in IMAX.
Sure.
Like I saw Skyfall in IMAX and didn't regret that for a second.
Side note,
Yeah.
is the Adele song Skyfall the best Bond song in years?
Years.
If maybe ever?
Because
I'll listen to it.
That. Yeah.
Jack White and Alicia Keys did one a few years back, but I don't remember it.
Sure.
It didn't become a hit, but Skyfall is a bona fide hit.
Agreed.
Okay.
But for example, like Iron Man 3 is coming out. It was post-converted into 3D. It wasn't shot in 3D. I don't know that I'm going to see that in 3D. Because it's not like Iron Man 1 and 2 weren't amazing in 2D. Also,
I would prefer
they're
not
still 3D.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
They're still 3D. Although, because I want to see Iron Man 3 in IMAX, if there isn't an IMAX, that will probably be IMAX 3D.
Right.
At which point I'm paying a ton of money anyway.
I think that's when I got tricked into not liking 3D, but not hating it, was when I went and saw the Marvel Avengers movie marathon, where my wife and I went went to the movie theater, and the movie started at noon, and we watched Hulk, Iron Man
2.
Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America. Or no, it was Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Captain America, Thor, and then the Avengers. And the last four movies were in 3D. And by the end of that, I was like, fine, I don't hate it anymore. Because it was just like,
you have beat me into submission.
Solid of 3D. Like, I was like, I guess it's fine. I don't know.
Right.
Like, I was like Alex in A Clockwork Orange, where it's, I don't know. Yeah. So,
Nice.
Anyways, yes, that's my answer.
That's fair. Shall we move on?
Yeah, it's a good question though, Ladarius. Again, when I talk to you next, I'm going to ask you, when have you spent $20 on a movie?
Seriously.
But I get the gist of the question. I mean, like, like Jackie Brown, I wouldn't want to spend $20 on, but Django Unchained, I might.
Sure. Yes.
Just to give an example from the same oeuvre.
Yeah.
You know? There's never been a Coen Brothers movie that I would want to spend $20 on, even though they're my favorite filmmakers.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
There you go.
Question number 2 from Daniel. Hello, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
He addresses this to Andy Hyman Roth and Philip Good Call Duvall.
Oh my God, I miss having him on our show. We need to have him back.
We do. I'll say this: you got the snappier nickname, but I got the one from The Godfather.
No, you got the one from The Godfather. You win, but you remember that he awarded me my nickname when he was on our show
During the show. Yes, it's true.
We did the show on heist. If you want to look for heist movies, and you can see a thing we did with Daniel Carlson, who is a reviewer for an online publication called Pajiba.com, which is Pajiba. And I got to tell you, I really like his reviews.
Me too.
I really like his reviews,
Extremely thoughtful.
They are, and like I prefer, he doesn't rate movies; he just talks about them.
Sure.
And I got to tell you, it's nice when you like someone and they happen to be good at what they do.
That's right. Lying, you don't have to lie. It's true.
Like I remember in college being like, "Well, I can't date her; she's not a good actor."
Yes.
But she's really pretty. I don't know. I just was...
Your mind flashes forward to the end of every show. You're like, "Hi, honey."
You're the best, honey. You're the best. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I do.
The way you fix that, by the way, is by never dating actors, just as a rule.
Which is a good rule on a number of levels.
And when I waited tables, I never dated waitresses.
No, bad idea.
Yeah.
His question.
Go ahead.
What's the best movie you've seen that you never want to see again?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had particular trouble with this question.
Okay.
And the main reason is that it assumes I have trouble understanding what he's asking, even now, even after I've got answers. Because to me, the best movie would be something that I like. And therefore I can't understand how I wouldn't want to see it again. So it would have to be a movie that I appreciated deeply, and was entertained by, and never want to see again. And that's a hard thing for me to conceive, because
Sure.
I can always come up with a context in which I might want to see it again. So I came up with movies that were good or great by definition, but that if I'm lucky, I will never have to watch again.
Okay.
One of which I know for a fact I'll have to watch again because it's on the AFI Top 100 list, and I'm watching that.
Awesome. Hit me.
Okay, so the one that I never want to watch again, but I know I'll have to, is Sullivan's Travels. It's just imagine a comedy that's not funny, but everybody talks about it like it's one of the great comedies of our time, of all time.
Sure.
But it's not actually a movie that you will laugh at.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a comedy, and it's known as one of the great comedy. I can't keep. It'd be like. Imagine a movie that everyone says this is a great action film and there are no action sequences. That's how I feel about Sullivan's Travels. But add on top of it, you watch it and it's just like preachy, like you should feel bad about everything. Don't you feel terrible? And I'm like, but I don't. So like, you know that bumper sticker that says if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention? My response to that is like, maybe if you're not outraged, you just know how to process things in a healthy way. You know, like you have perspective.
Right. It's not punchy and doesn't lend itself to a bumper sticker.
But it's a lot more true to my heart.
And yet, yeah,
right,
no, totally.
There are many so that movie is like it's like ta-da. No, for the movies that are also great and that I will never have to see again, there's a movie by F.W. Murdoch called Sunrise. That it was one of the first films. I think it was like one of the first films to win Best Film.
Yeah,
one of the first couple
of first three. Yeah,
like Best Artistic Achievement in Film or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Roger Ebert talks about it like it's amazing. Like he talks about it like it's this like this piece of steak that you could chew on for a year. I thought it took a year to watch it. I wanted to die. It was.
Yeah.
And I was trying to come up with ways that it was a good movie in my head. Like, well, clearly they're doing this and this and this, but all I could think was just 20 more minutes. And then I'd like click display and I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, 45 more minutes. No.
Oh, that's too bad.
And I'm watching it with my wife because it was an AFI movie. And I was watching it with this sense of like, it's that sense of dread when you feel responsible for the other person's misery.
Yes.
Like, put the baby down to sleep. And we finally have some alone time, and I go, I have an idea. This? That's not a thing to do to a person.
And she's looking at you, and she's like, I immediately regret this decision.
And by that you mean her marriage. She looked
Indeed.
at me and was immediately regret this marriage. And finally, I just want to say Requiem for a Dream.
Sure.
Because it's an extremely well-crafted movie that I wish I hadn't seen in the first place.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Certain things you cannot unsee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Requiem for a Dream.
Yes. Yes. So I have two answers. One is I get that it's a great movie. I get that it's an important movie, but it was like taking medicine. And the other one was because it destroyed my soul. And yeah. So the first one, there is a movie called The 400 Blows. It's by Francois Truffaut. It is arguably the most important movie of the French New Wave movement, which, I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but aspects of French New Wave cinema are so common now that we just accept them as part of cinema, right? But that was part of the problem. I saw, and what it is about a young boy who is not understood by the adults in his life, and he's sort of railing against the system, and the system is literally beating him down with 400 blows. And
got it.
yes, and
I haven't seen the movie, so
it is. You cannot watch a movie as anyone other than yourself, right? And so by the time I watched it, I was in my mid-20s. I watched it in New York, and I was watching it, and I had already seen every disaffected youth movie that had come out in my lifetime. So when I see this, which is the ancestor, the grandfather of all of those movies, I was like, this kid, this little punk, needs to shut the hell up and just deal with it. Survive until the end of high school, big guy. Just survive. And then you will be able to do literally whatever you want.
I got 3 words for you, kid. Get a job.
Right? Right?
Like,
it's
parents did.
God, blah, blah, blah. But, and having said that, there were also moments where I was like, I'm with you, kid, because the adults in this movie are insufferable also. Just like, ugh, God. And the filming techniques that were revolutionary, I also didn't enjoy, because it was like, that I've seen that done.
This movie sounds like so much fun.
But objectively, a great movie, like an important film, if you will.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, and that's the part that I have trouble with. To me, if it's not entertaining, I don't know why. Like, I don't.
But that is not the movie. This actually wasn't a difficult question for me to answer. The movie that came instantly to mind when I read Daniel's question was The Deer Hunter. That has to be my answer.
I have to watch that again too.
It is such a good movie. It's so good. It is a transcendent movie in terms of the faculty with which it is made. In whatever way you want to talk about objective quality, it's in the top 10 best movies I've ever seen, and it's not number 10 either. It is about. It's a Vietnam War movie where these 4 guys are taken prisoner. And as POWs, for the amusement of their captors, they are forced to play Russian roulette.
Right.
And they survive, and it follows them back to the States, or it follows them after the war.
God.
And I don't know if I can impress upon you. The most depressing scenes are not the ones where you watch them play Russian roulette.
Nope.
Those are absolutely the most harrowing scenes. But when you get back to the States, you see these people who have just been destroyed. And I mean, the cast in this movie, it's Robert De Niro, it's Meryl Streep, John Cazale, John Savage, Christopher Walken. Chris Walken won the Best Supporting Oscar for this movie. It is, and so these are heavy hitters in terms of actors, and they are all at the top of their game. So when they want you to be devastated, you are devastated in a way. I'm like close to crying now.
I wish. And now I'm like, It's overcast today in California, and I wish you weren't. Like, I don't want to talk to you right now. Like, you've ruined my day
I
by
understand.
talking about this movie.
I understand, but objectively a wonderful movie. Here's what I want to know. Here's what I want to know. It's available on DVD and it might be available on Blu-ray.
Oh,
Who
buys
is
that?
buying this movie?
Completists,
I suppose.
like
I need
film snobs who are
Right.
like, well, I
right.
know who's not buying this movie. This guy.
This guy. Right.
Yeah.
I already own Heaven's Gate. I need the rest of Michael Cimino's filmography.
Yep, that's pretty much it. That's
it.
the one.
That's it. Or more likely John Cazale, because you only have to buy 5 movies, 4 movies, 5 movies.
I mean, I seriously am sitting here thinking about how I don't want to live anymore. Like, I'm like, I don't. If I die, maybe I'll never have to think about this again.
Well,
But the
God.
sad thing for me is that I'm sad because I know I'm going to have to watch that movie again
Because of the AFI Top 100. Yeah.
because I have committed myself.
Yeah. Where is it? It's like I think it's in the 50s, so it's not that far away for you.
It's the next movie up for us is All the President's Men.
Oh, nice.
Um,
That's fun.
Although, yeah, so I'm not. I don't know, man. It's number 53. I can't believe you even know that. It's
No. I recalled that from earlier in the Wikipedia searching, like researching this movie as I was preparing my answer. I just want to make clear that I'm a freak, but I don't have the AFI Top 100 memorized.
I don't know if we're going to keep going in order. We're kind of doing it in funky chunks right now, but we're doing it in a tricky way. But I just want to point out that that right after Deer Hunter, if we were to watch it in order, right after Deer Hunter, I would have the privilege of watching Taxi Driver. How is that a thing that you do to somebody?
So,
like, how is that a thing?
A light sorbet to cleanse the palate between meals.
And then it gets awesome because then it's West Side Story and then Lord of the Rings. But then right after that, Intolerance.
Oh no, nope.
I'm really thinking I'm gonna have to give my wife a pass on Intolerance. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how we're gonna make it through that.
Sure. I get that.
I think that separates the boys from the men, though. I really do.
That's right.
Okay. Next
Having said
question.
that, your wife is neither a boy nor a man. So
Separates the ladies from the girls.
there we go. Last question from Leia.
Hey, Leia.
This one doesn't start as a question. It just starts as a statement. And then apparently there were typos that I actually don't think I saw, but she sent it again and said, I apologize for the typos. There may have been wine involved. Leia.
I like how you're outing her on the mailbag. That's fantastic.
Right? Leia, you're doing it right. So, we are
Leia,
watching...
wait, hold on. Can I say something?
Please.
Leia, one day at a time, sister. One day at a time.
We are watching Star Trek again because it makes me happy.
Aww.
Every time. Goofy happy.
Aww.
Indeed. Is there a movie in recent history, say the last 3 or 4 years, that never fails to make you feel that way? How about in distant history? Right off the bat, Leia, I'm changing your question because because 3 or 4 years it's a little fuzzy. I'm picking 5, just 5 years. Not coincidentally, 2008 was a really good year for me in movies, so there's that. But 5 years. Do you want to go? Or would you like me to go?
I would love for you to go, mainly because I'm going to see if you're going to say that you want to watch Cloverfield over and over again. Sorry.
Who told? No, absolutely not. I do own it, but no.
Of course you do. Okay, go ahead.
But that's not the question, right? This is not the question from a couple weeks ago where it's like, what can you watch in an endless loop? This is what never fails to make you feel goofy happy.
Yes.
So
that is different. I agree.
I have three time periods. I have very distant history before I was born, distant history from my birth to 5 years ago, and then recent history of the last 5 years. First one, the Deer Hunter. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so very distant history.
Why I oughta.
Very distant history. Errol Flynn's The Adventures of Robin Hood. That movie is like candy. It is that isn't bad for you. That won't give you a toothache. Buster Keaton's The General.
It's candy that'll give you a hug.
Indeed. Keaton's The General. That movie, I I have the biggest goofy grin on my face throughout that entire movie. I love that movie. And Singing in the Rain. There's no way to be sad. When Donald O'Connor says, make him laugh, you know what? He is making me laugh.
He is.
Yeah. Something that I should say, and Phil, I'm going to go ahead and speak for you because Second Breakfast Nation, we were talking about this before we started recording. The hard thing about this question is there are so many, right? There are just so many movies. So
I mean, yeah, we're movie freaks, so there's tons of stuff we could be saying right
Indeed.
now.
So distant history, from my birth to more than 5 years ago. The Goonies, clearly. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The Princess Bride.
Can I stop you right there? Stop you right there?
Yeah.
All three of those. I don't want to repeat you. All three of those for me. Like, I don't want to, when we say, I don't want to say the same thing twice.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes. Those three specifically, yes.
Sure. And my other one from this category, Shaun of the Dead.
Nice.
And then recent history from 2008 on, the last 5 years. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. WALL-E. Up. Role Models, which...
You're making me cross things off my list that I said as well. Continue.
Please. So I'm guessing WALL-E and Up, and are those...
Yes, WALL-E Up. I almost just wrote Pixar, but WALL-E Up,
Fair.
Toy Story 3, and Scott Pilgrim I wrote, for sure. Yes.
Role Models is a comedy that I'm not quite sure why I
knew
find
you were going to say that movie. I knew you were going to say it.
I have no doubt that you knew. I know why I find it funny. Right? It's a funny movie. I don't know why I find it so unbelievably funny, but I just the kids are amazing, and Jane Lynch is just so every scene in that movie kills me.
Yes.
And then the final movie is a probably, because it just hasn't been around long enough for me to be sure about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say The Avengers.
I concur. I concur with that. I want to start with where you were with Avengers and work backwards.
Please do.
Okay. I think Avengers. You're probably right. I haven't seen it since it was in the theaters. I don't own it on Blu-ray yet. I'm sure I will, but I saw it 4 times in the theaters.
Yeah.
Which is, just so you know, if I really like something, like really like it, I'll see it twice in the theaters.
Sure.
So there are very few movies. If I see something more than twice in the theaters, it is a bold statement. I might see something twice and it's not a bold statement, but if I see something 3 times, I am not kidding around.
That's exactly how I feel. I will repeat a movie probably more than you do. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I think you repeat movies more than I do.
In the theaters, but when I get to 3, that's...
I'm now like, okay, we're in a whole different ballpark here.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start there and I'm going to work backwards instead of starting at the old and go to the new. Okay.
I like it.
Of the last couple of years, you said WALL-E, you said Scott Pilgrim. I can't believe you didn't say this. Of course, you probably haven't seen it as many times as I have at this point now.
Okay.
But Wreck-It Ralph. And I know we talk about Wreck-It Ralph nonstop, but I want to keep talking about it. And if you're just annoyed with it, you're listening to the wrong show. Here's the deal about Wreck-It Ralph. What I love about it actually these days is it's so visually like fun and like light that it actually manages to take what is to me a fairly deep and at times dark premise and keep it like you feel like you're not watching something really serious.
Yeah.
But by the end, you feel like you've been put through the ringer in a really amazing way. And I giggle the last scene. There's so many parts of it, but I just feel happy when it's on. So like when my daughter's like, do you want to, like my daughter's like Wreck-It Ralph? I'm like, yes. It's like, it's the movie that she wants to watch. That's one.
My only response to that, Phil, is it very easily could have gone on my list.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm a little embarrassed by the amount of kids' movies that are on here.
Why?
I don't know. I want to be grown up someday.
Go ahead.
The Muppets.
Nice.
I cry every time they do the Muppet Show theme song again. Like,
is this is this goofy happy? Would you consider this a goofy happy? Okay, I'm just
like giggling, like, and I love it. I giggle at the show. I watch any section of it, any part of that movie. I love the songs. Am I a Man or a Muppet just makes me so happy.
Yes.
The first song is just classic. Amy Adams, Jameson Segel. No, I'm in a happy place for the entire time that movie's on.
Nice.
That's how I felt when I saw it in the theaters. It's the last time I felt like that in the theaters, where I went with my nieces. There were kids all around me, and it lived up to that feeling, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. That's a great answer.
And now for some grown-up pictures.
Okay.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Nice.
Just Little Miss Sunshine.
Nice.
Away We Go.
Nice.
Yes. And that manages to make me feel happy and melancholy at the same time.
Yeah.
But the way it makes me feel, it puts me. The movie is transcendent. That movie takes me to another place.
That movie, it's a special movie. It's if you don't know it, it stars Maya Rudolph and John Krasinski as soon-to-be parents and it's basically a road picture because they go to various cities where their friends live to try and see where they're going to settle and raise their kid.
Yes,
and
the
really,
answer they come up with is beautiful. Although I do wish that that's a whole other conversation laden with spoilers that I would love to have at some point. We could do a whole podcast on that movie. Let's do that. Let's do a podcast on Away We Go sometime in the near future.
That sounds good.
Okay. Karate Kid, and I mean the most recent one.
Nice. Okay.
It just I love it. I love it. And I got two more just from this era. I know this is too many, but I can't stop myself.
No. It's all good.
First of all, part of this is because I want to say this movie. Part of this is because when I saw it, I literally felt so happy, and I walked out like singing, literally singing. And then part of it is because it somehow, even though it won an Oscar, then got the backlash, like it didn't deserve the Oscar because some other movie deserved it more. And I was like, and every time I'm like, maybe they're right. And every time I'd watch it on cable, I was like, no, this movie's amazing. I don't care what anyone says. The King's Speech is so superb. Like, I'm rapturous when I watch that movie. I really am. Like, I'm just a goofy, everything about that movie from the beginning to the end makes me smile. I love it.
That's a fantastic answer. I love that answer.
And finally, True Grit.
Nice.
True Grit makes me, I feel like from the beginning, the music starts to play and I get tears in my eyes when the opening music starts to play. Because, by the way, first of all, Carter Burwell, who's a beautiful music scorer, beautiful composer, basically scores this movie based on old hymns. And so the first song is like this, in His Everlasting Arms, and like I know this song, and he starts playing, but it's got this old timey feel to it, and it's got like this. It's also like composed, and it just sweeps me right into this other place. And I'm like, for the rest of the time, I'm like, just take me wherever you want to go.
Nice.
Like that's all. Okay, quickly.
Yeah.
All the movies you said from our lifetime are true. Goonies, Princess Bride, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Return of the King. Giddy for 4 hours straight. It's embarrassing.
Here's why, and this is also why.
I'm sure you thought of it. I'm sure you considered it.
Yeah. So the reason it didn't make my list is because I tried, just the way I read the question, I tried to steer clear of movies that put you through the ringer.
Okay. Fair enough.
But I cannot in any way quibble with your lists as a whole. Or that one in particular.
Searching for Bobby Fischer, which I talked about twice now in the past week, but I watched it again last week, and Searching for Bobby Fischer makes me feel like the greatest feeling that there is to feel in humanity. It is wonderful. I'm just plain happy the whole time it's on.
Agreed.
It doesn't even put you through the ringer. It's just fantastic.
Agreed.
And then from before our time, like from back in the day, Casablanca. When Casablanca's on, I'm just like, Like the whole time. Everything he says, I'm like, just to see what he said? That's funny. That was good. I like when he said that. I think, and Philadelphia Story. Philadelphia Story,
Nice.
just Jimmy Stewart, Cary Grant, and Katharine Hepburn. It is such a phenomenal film. And so much fun. Like, and it's a romantic comedy that makes you feel like you've earned it, but it's not it's an earned romantic comedy. You know, I love it. I love the whole scene when Jimmy Stewart's drunk and he comes over to C.K. Dexter Haven's house.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That movie. It's wonderful. Just wonderful.
Just want to chew on it.
It's a romantic comedy that manages to be both romantic and a comedy.
Yes.
And there isn't a bit of either one of those that it doesn't earn.
Well, yeah, it's a movie that, like, here's the thing about Andy and I have discussed this before, right? You and I have discussed the idea that there are movies that, like, people call romantic comedies rom-coms.
Indeed.
And how much we hate that.
Indeed.
Because we do. We hate it.
We do. That's true.
But I feel like there are movies that deserve to be called that because they just fit into this genre in such a way that you're literally like, oh, look at this cookie cutter. Like, you know, and just like they just crap out some awful nonsense, and that's a rom-com. Fine, you want to call that rom-com?
The biggest question involved in the making of that movie is, should we cast Katherine Heigl or Kate Hudson? I mean,
or both.
Or both.
Can we get both to fight over something?
Indeed.
God, those movies are so insulting to women. That's the funny thing about romantic comedies.
I agree with you. Yes.
But this is a movie that actually you would never actually say rom-com. You couldn't. Like, it's you'd start to and it wouldn't come out. It's a romantic comedy. It is a comedy that is bone. I love it. That's my list. I'm all done.
It's a great list. It's a great list, and that brings us.
I apologize for my list for being so long, but
not at all. I don't think your list was longer. I think my list might have been longer than yours. It's all good. And
I want to watch True Grit again right now.
Yeah, I want to watch Away We Go right now.
Yeah.
And so to do that, everybody, we got to wrap this mailbag up. So we're going to do that. But wrap it up.
Oh my God. Defending Your Life is totally on that list. Defending Your Life, and for me, Mother, the Albert Brooks movie Mother.
Mother didn't quite make it for me. Defending Your Life, and I don't know why, because there's no reason, because we didn't set a limit on the number. It was the last movie that I knocked out.
It's totally on my list, and Defending Your Life and Mother are both on my list for sure.
Sure.
Of just like, I'm just the whole time, I'm just happy. I'm just like, I'll just watch this now. Ugh. Okay.
You know, this is the last thing I'll say before we end. We get asked, I think we get asked this question more than any other question. What movie should I see? You know, it's like, what movie should I see? Play back our answers to Leia's question. Leia, thank you. Thank you. Because I don't come up with all of these in the moment. There is literally not one of these movies mentioned by me, mentioned by Phil, that will not put you in a good mood, that will last you past the next time you sleep. Like, you will wake up the next moment, the next morning, after a nap, whatever. You will still be feeling good from any one of these movies.
I feel like someone made King's Speech, then took a time machine back in time and showed it to the British, and then they were like, we can win this war. That's how I feel about that movie.
Awesome. I
Like,
love it.
well, we can win now. Did you see what our president? Look at our king can talk, so we can win. This is all. We're fine. We're fine.
Awesome.
Ugh. Okay.
Awesome. So that brings us to the end of our mailbag and the end of another week of Second Breakfast. To Ladarius, Daniel, and Leia, thank you so much for your questions.
Yeah.
Much fun answering all of them. And from all of us here at Second Breakfast, I'm Andy Roth. That's Phil Duvall. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Sayonara.
Bye-bye.
The most important meal of the day, second